We join a controversial debate today on Mid-Mornings. Just ahead, we'll have that discussion. And we're talking toys today. Our Andrew Harrison brings by some of his favorites. Mid-Morning starts right now.
WCBI's Mid-Morning with Andrea, breaking away from your everyday.
Good morning, everybody. Let me just start by saying happy Monday. Have you ever tried to have a conversation that you know from the onset will be difficult to have? You realize when you begin that there are vast differences of opinions. That's where we are beginning today. According to an opinion last week from Mississippi Attorney General Jim Hood, state law allows couples of the same sex to hold commitment events at state-owned venues. For example, one couple requested the Agriculture Museum in Jackson for a commitment ceremony. As you can imagine, there has been quite a debate, but what it comes down to is this: the law, our state law, allows any resident of Mississippi to rent and hold an event at a state-owned building provided for that purpose, regardless of the preferences of that person's personal life. So this is our conversation today. What does it all mean? Why is this important? This is important because it's an issue of individual rights, freedom of speech. Let's talk about it this morning with our guests, Meagan and Pastor Joseph Stone. Let's start. Well, thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Yeah, let me just tell you that when we decided to have this conversation, as you might imagine, it started in our newsroom with all of us sort of sharing what we thought, and we wanted to bring in some voices who might mirror what many of our viewers are thinking. So we want to start, Meagan, first with you and your reaction to this opinion from our state attorney general. Is this a conversation that needs to be had at all?
Well, I mean, it's reality. It's a conversation that is happening. So, you know, first of all, we have to acknowledge that there's a lot of controversy around this, and there has been for a long time. So I think as we talk about it more, the tension grows, and I think the tension is growing. But it is something that's going to have to be addressed at some point. And for me, my reaction was very simple. You know, it's just a part of the process. It's a part of history. It's a part of what we're going through. So, you know, I try not to have a lot of emotion around it, and just to be very realistic about it. And I think this is just where we are. So that's kind of my response to that.
Does the ruling matter really much to you? Him saying, or our state saying, that this is a law. Anybody can have this event, any kind of event they want at a state venue.
I think as a person who is gay, it's important that I feel like I can be who I want to be and choose where I want to go if I want to have an event of my own. So to me, it makes me feel more like an equal than a person who is less than everybody else. So for me, and I know probably for a lot of people, that's important. And whether or not you agree or disagree with it, you know, for me, it's important that I am acknowledged as an equal.
Pastor Stone, I imagine that this conversation for you is one that's difficult to have, but you have to have it in your congregation. Your reaction, first of all, to this opinion about the law?
I think it's just that it's the law. The law explicitly says what it desires, and we have to deal with that accordingly, because as United States citizens, we're governed by those laws. What has happened is a people issue has become a political issue, and is now polarizing our country. And when we make people issues political issues, people get lost in the mix of it. And we have to be able to sit down and have honest and open conversations and be able to agree to disagree.
It's a people issue, it's a political issue, it's also a religious issue, and one that you know, churches are having, a conversation they're having. How do you address this with spiritual people and what they believe about gay relationships?
Being a Baptist pastor, there are certain things that we believe, certain things that we hold true. I think what happens is, as Christians, we rank sins, or we rank the symptoms of sins that we consider to be wrong. But I'm of the belief that anything that's outside the will of God is right there together. And we don't have a right to say that this is a greater or lesser than. So what I try to tell my congregation is this, is that when you have a personal relationship with God, that He lets you know according to His word and His will. Those things that each of us have to work on in our lives to try to better ourselves, to line up with His direction.
I don't know, Meagan, what your religious beliefs are, but how do you react to sort of the religious community that is so vehemently against gay lifestyles and gay marriage in the state of Mississippi?
Well, it's challenging. I mean, I'll be honest with you, it is challenging. But at the end of the day, for me, it's important to be a good person and to look at myself. And so when I'm challenged with something that might make me angry or make me question, it's most important to me that when I sleep at night, that I question, was I loving today? Was I compassionate today? Was I honest today? Was I all of the things today that I want to be in the world? And so when it comes down to that, you know, it's about me taking personal responsibility for my life, you know, my relationship with God, and being, you know, feeling like I'm in alignment with that, whatever that may be. And so for me, it's really about just looking at my life and being okay with it. And if I am, I am, and I'll do a good job out in the world. So that's what's most important to me, is to be the best person I can be at the end of the day.
Pastor Stone, is it possible to disagree with the way someone lives or what they believe and still lovingly try to convey to them what you think is right?
I do believe that's possible, and that's the tricky part, because oftentimes when it comes to religious matters, we become dogmatic, and being dogmatic never really persuades or gains people over to the side that you're trying to get them on. I know Meagan. Actually, we worked together at my time as a principal, and she has done a wonderful job in a lot of areas. But even saying that, I still have beliefs about homosexuality that I would like to share with her, and she just heard my opinion. But that won't stop me from hugging Meagan, from loving Meagan, because that's what we're called to do as Christians.
Because Meagan's a good person, and I think we can tell from what we've learned today. Well, I cannot tell you both how much we appreciate your perspective and your willingness to share that with our viewers. Thank you both so much for coming. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And of course, we want to hear from you. If you have a comment, you want to share your opinions, you can do it on our Facebook page. Now, just ahead, if you're planning a landscaping project that requires digging, you might want to call 811 first. We'll tell you why when we come back.